HOA demanded I relocate my range. I took them to court with evidence from a combat camera drone. Have you ever been pushed to the edge by a petty HOA rule, only to discover you had the perfect weapon to fight back? In the quiet suburb of Willow Creek, where manicured lawns and pristine fences define the neighborhood, Jake Thompson found himself at war with his HOA. The battleground? A backyard shooting range he'd built for his son's archery practice. The HOA, led by the insufferable Karen Whitaker, demanded he tear it down, claiming it violated community standards. But Jake wasn't one to back down. Armed with evidence from an unexpected HOA combat camera drone, he turned the tables in a way no one saw coming. Jake was a retired veteran, a man who valued precision and principle. After serving 2 tours overseas, he'd settled in Willow Creek to give his teenage son, Ethan, a stable life. Ethan had taken up archery, a sport that helped him channel his energy and cope with the challenges of growing up. Jake built a small, safe range in their backyard, complete with a professional backstop and netting to ensure arrows stayed contained. It was a labor of love, a way to bond with his son. For months, neighbors didn't complain. Some even stopped by to watch Ethan practice, impressed by his skill. But Karen, the HOA president with a knack for sniffing out rule breakers, had other plans. One crisp October morning, Jake found a letter taped to his front door. The HOA claimed his range was a safety hazard and violated the community's vague aesthetic standards. The letter demanded he relocate the range to an indoor facility or face fines and legal action. Jake was livid. The range was on his private property, well within local zoning laws, and he'd taken every precaution to ensure safety. He tried reasoning with Karen at the next HOA meeting, presenting permits and safety certifications, but she dismissed him with a wave of her manicured hand. "Rules are rules, Mr. Thompson," she said, her voice dripping with condescension. "We can't have weapons in our community." Archery, a weapon? Jake knew this was personal. Karen had a reputation for targeting anyone who didn't fit her vision of suburban perfection. Determined to fight, Jake dug into the HOA's covenants. The rules were maddeningly vague, mentioning nuisances and community standards without specifics. He consulted a lawyer, who warned that HOAs often had the upper hand in court unless he could prove the rule was arbitrary or unfairly enforced. Jake needed evidence not just of his range's safety, but of Karen's overreach. That's when he remembered his old combat camera drone, a rugged piece of military surplus he'd kept from his service days. Equipped with a high-resolution camera and long-range capabilities, it was perfect for gathering aerial proof of what was really happening in Willow Creek. Jake spent weeks strategizing. He flew the drone discreetly, capturing footage of his range from every angle, showing its safety features and how it blended into the backyard. But he didn't stop there. He documented the neighborhood, revealing that Karen's own backyard was a mess of unapproved a gaudy fountain, an oversized pergola, and a dog run that violated the same aesthetic standards she weaponized against him. The twist came when Jake's drone caught something unexpected. Karen using her own drone to spy on neighbors' backyards, snapping photos of alleged violations. This wasn't just hypocrisy. It was an invasion of privacy, and Jake had it all on video. The confrontation unfolded at the HOA's annual meeting, held in the community center packed with residents. Karen, perched at the head of the room, was ready to push for Jake's fines to be doubled. She projected grainy photos of his range, taken from her drone, claiming they proved it was an eyesore. The crowd murmured, some nodding in agreement, others shifting uncomfortably. Jake stood up, calm but resolute, and asked to present his defense. He connected his laptop to the projector and played his drone footage. The room fell silent as crystal-clear images showed his range's safety features, then pivoted to Karen's cluttered backyard, exposing her violations. Gasps rippled through the crowd when the video revealed her drone hovering over private properties, including one resident's pool where a family was swimming. "Mrs. Whitaker," Jake said, his voice steady but sharp, "if my range is a hazard, what do you call flying a drone over people's homes without permission? That's not just against HOA rules, it's against the law." He cited California Civil Code Section 1708.8, which prohibits invasive drone surveillance and referenced the FAA's requirement for commercial drone licenses, which Karen didn't have. The room erupted in whispers. Karen's face turned crimson, her usual composure crumbling as she stammered, "This is irrelevant. Your range is the issue here." But the residents weren't buying it. A neighbor, Mrs. Patel, stood up, furious. "You've been spying on us? My kids were in that pool." The tide had turned. Karen's downfall was swift. Emboldened by Jake's evidence, residents demanded an investigation into her actions. The HOA board, sensing a mutiny, voted to suspend her as president pending a review. Jake's lawyer filed a lawsuit against the HOA for selective enforcement and invasion of privacy, using the drone footage as key evidence. In court, the judge was unimpressed with Karen's defense, which relied on vague HOA rules and her claim of community oversight. The drone footage was damning, showing her pattern of targeting residents while ignoring her own violations. The court ruled in Jake's favor, declaring the HOA's demand to relocate his range arbitrary and unenforceable. Karen was personally fined for privacy violations, and the HOA was ordered to revise its policies to prevent future overreach. As the dust settled, Willow Creek felt different. Jake's range stayed, and Ethan continued his archery practice, now with a small crowd of neighborhood kids cheering him on. The HOA, under new leadership, adopted a transparent drone policy, requiring resident consent for any aerial surveillance. Jake became a local hero of sorts, not just for standing up to Karen, but for reminding everyone that community doesn't mean control. He even started a free drone safety workshop, teaching neighbors how to fly responsibly, turning his combat drone into a tool for unity rather than conflict. In the end, Jake's fight wasn't just about a backyard rangeite, it was about reclaiming personal freedom from petty tyranny. His story spread beyond Willow Creek, inspiring others to challenge overzealous HOAs. So what do you think? Was Jake right to use his drone to expose Karen's hypocrisy? Or did he cross a line by turning her tactics against her? Share your thoughts. Where do you draw the line between standing up for your rights and fighting fire with fire?